I don't want y'all to hear me typing, that's kind of annoying.
Some people get, like, the ASMR thing from typing, where they get, like, the good tinglies when they hear a keyboard click. So chill on the morbid talk.
Yeah.
Good vibes only.
Are the mute mics live? Okay, cool. So we're live now, guys. Welcome everyone, everyone in Discord or on YouTube to the 2021 Spring Wordhammer Performative Poetry Showcase. So tonight we'll be having a brief open mic portion, as well as a portion for showcasing our members' work from the past semester. So thank you again for everyone coming out. And if there's anyone on YouTube who would like to tune in and maybe get involved with the open mic, there are links within the description to get either into the Discord or into the not the set list. What's the sign up form for the open mic. So we'll just be starting off with a short little reading of a few pieces from myself to just kick off the open mic. And right now we only have a couple of people on here, so anyone watching or listening again, feel free to jump in if you would like to. I'm looking at you, Fanning. But yeah, without further ado, I will get going with my first two pieces. The first piece I'll be reading tonight is called "My Grandfather Was a Giant." Is a difficult phrase to say right now. There are two issues with it that I can't escape. The memory that spurred that perception came from a short little Dutch boy sitting on an old farmer's shoulders. I've grown up, but I'm still short. Then there's the word was. I say he was a giant. He was always taller than me. And I don't know if that's still true. You know, old people shrink. And maybe he is shorter than me after all this time, but then again, I can't say that I've scaled him up recently. His legs barely let him stand, and his heartstrings and oxygen tank tie him down even more. I think of the word was and its usage, and I worry that maybe I'm writing in perpetuity. He's still alive. That old farmer, that old giant, and I sat on his shoulders. I saw past the cornfields and the forest to the world still small and whole and holy. But the word of hospice hangs like the last call, and I hope his heart can hold on just a bit longer. After years of wondering which would be the last, it feels like the end, the last nail in the coffin, or maybe the stone in the sling. Thank you. The next piece I'll be reading is called Months Gone. And the seasons haven't changed. They're always the same ever since you laid to rest. I'm still waiting for spring. I'm still stuck inside the slush because it didn't end with you. A new storm comes and a new generation takes your place, but it's not the same. Will it ever be? And the snow keeps melting till it floods the whole earth. A new old drift melts away. Every day I drift. From one sinking ship to another. It will never be home. She will never be you. Thank you. So coming up next on our open mic is Jade Driscoll. You can just give me a second and I will let you know when you can go. Go ahead, Jade.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Jade. I'm going to read 3 pretty quick poems for you all. The first one is called Jade Adjective, and it's about my relationship with my name. Dictionaries show more than one definition for jade. For years, I only knew one definition. I grew up thinking I was a gemstone, decorated, jade. In kindergarten, Aerosmith wrote a song just for me. I sang along loudly during cheer clinic warm-ups, not knowing the difference between me and the girl who was jaded. In 3rd grade, I threw away a colored pencil I hated using. Its dull matte ruined drawings. The ugly olive green was mislabeled jade. In 5th grade, we looked up our name's origins. A friend said I was not a gem. My name meant disreputable woman. It meant worn out horse. It meant jaded. It took until college to find my name again. I circle it in books. Authors use it in their poems just for me. Jade waves, jade forests, jade fish, jade butterflies, labyrinths of jade, jade memories, jade necklaces, jade lullabies, jade book covers, jade flutes, jade dragons. Everything beautiful and powerful and necessary is jade.
Before you move on to your second poem, I just want to say again, if anyone would like to jump onto the open mic list, it is still open. Thanks.
All right, this second one is called Monday Afternoon. Once a week, I think about popping my arm out of socket, stretching and pulling until my arm dislocates, completely falls off my body at the shoulder. And it never hurts, but it feels like I've finally completed the one task I've been aiming for all my life. Like my arm shouldn't be a part of me anyway, since my brain so frequently forces me to view myself moving from above. So why shouldn't my body disconnect from itself too, and give me several smaller bodies to concentrate on? Maybe I could ground myself in searching for myself. Maybe I could find myself by tearing myself apart. Thank you. Last but certainly not least, I would like to read the poem To My Psychiatrist, a non-exhaustive list of my recurring nightmares. It is a poem in 4 parts. 1. I am visiting the grandmother who wishes I wasn't her granddaughter. I'm in the blue Cutlass Sierra that Mom had when I was a kid. At the crest of a hill I must descend to reach dear old Grandma's house. Someone stops me. The hill has disappeared, they say. But this makes no sense, and the blue Cutlass Sierra edges down the hillside and drops into a pit of nothingness. I've never seen myself emerge from the pit. I think my grandmother is happy. 2. I have a pet fish. He looks like Lucky, the neon yellow fish I had in high school, except this fish jumps out of the tank when I open the lid to feed him. I watch him flop on the carpet before I spur into action, trying to save the fish that's trying to die. He slips through my fingers dozens of times before I succeed. Instead of sliding him back in the tank, I drop him in my mouth. I force myself to wake up when I realize I am hurting him once again. I always cry. 3. I am being yelled at for something I didn't do. No matter how much I try to defend myself, no matter how much I try to tell dream me to get stronger or to change the dream to give me a voice, I remain hoarse. My throat shreds itself raw as I beg to be heard. I am conscious enough to know that I shouldn't have to beg. 4. I am reunited with the boy I loved when I was 15. Every time he opens his mouth, to say he loved me back, to say he's been waiting, we are separated. Someone interrupts us. The building catches fire. Aliens attack. We are physically harmed until we leave each other's sides. I am beginning to forget what his voice sounds like. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Jade. If anyone wants to quick jump in, again, we still have, you can still jump onto the open mic. I'll give you like maybe 30 seconds here. If not, we will be moving on to our member showcase. All right, so we're going to move on to the member showcase now. We're going to actually go a bit out of order on the list here. We're going to be having all of our senior members going last, just to have one last reading here with the word hammer. So starting off will actually be our Vice President, Lauren Howley.
So the first poem I wrote the first poem I'm going to be speaking about is something I wrote pretty recently, and I've done a lot of re-editing and I'm pretty proud of it. I titled it Holy Ghost. One morning I awoke severed from salvation. My spirit spilled from my guts, split from my spine, sunk deep below my soul, and though the sky was bright, I was so dark. Floating on my back, stagnant in a pool of vital spark, hope drilled a hole through my core, grace clawed me inside out. The scene was none but blood and gore, carnage made still, damn near serene. The red that I bled formed a bed of delicate flowers and soft moss, veiling haunted charm over my eyes. I remained in awe, slack jawed, that my essence had the audacity to up and leave. This part I had locked away, never to consider if not for my own consoling. Sweet jailbroken dove serenaded the guard left watch and escaped my safekeeping. My vacant vault croons like a mother rocking a lost child to rest as my eyes trail my humanity by its tail. I knew we had little time left. Reaching out, my palm met the breath of soul and stung of razor keen inferno. Sears and slits formed between my knuckles. I cried out, poured out from severed stoop of sacred waters, my torn flesh exposing the ruptured red communion cup rapture. And all was said, and all was sad. The tether stood free from her, from me, and no amount of string could tie the two of us back together. Though I had no choice, sunk deep in my grief as she fled, I let go of my claim on God, said so long to some certain salvation, for my solace now walks at her own liberty. And though some days I feel more hollow than hollowed, today I know a different Numa, a Holy Ghost that I can keep in my back pocket, plug into tangled headphones, walk alongside, and sometimes, if my ear lays gentle in just the right spot on a warm chest, a bit of heaven skips a beat and meets my heart. Then a newborn dove, this secondhand spirit, she secures my sanctity. She keeps me sane. Thank you. And then the second one I wanted to you is one that I wrote a bit of time ago. It is titled I Live. Am I obsessive about personal reflection? Maybe. Who am I to ignore the life that has been so perfectly placed outside of my eyelids? How am I not to question it? I can't help but wonder if I'm hypocritical, for my thoughts are constantly spinning back and forth. I tiptoe over the idea of time and its worth constantly. Sometimes I think I'm so small, that this life in the grand scheme of things is meaningless. I often act jaded, like I'm better than those with their rose colored glasses because I am a friend of cold reality. I am annoyed, even hostile toward these people, because I wonder how they have the audacity to claim importance over everything they do, everything they say, everything they think. How should one human being believe that they are writing a narrative of significance? It's not that deep is a phrase I too often utter from chapped lips, but every night I lay in my bed in total silence. I wonder if this planet will slowly swallow me up whole. I wonder what difference it would make. I'm frustrated by my complacence in simplicity, my irreverence to care. Most days I write poems, then immediately discredit what I have to say as meaningless. Words to fill up a page, words someone across the world thought long before I was born, words that are unoriginal and therefore unimportant. I, like many others, can't take a compliment. I refuse to believe that I'm one in a million like my mama says I am. What have I provided that's so essential for our humanity? I can't comprehend how I am worth what I have been given. To put it simply, I find it hard to take myself seriously. But when I do, oh boy, when I do, it can be amazing, even heavenly. To let down those gates and speak in vivid colors, to allow myself the time to dream that true love exists and that the stars align to give birth to the human I am today. To marvel at the beauty that I have been given the opportunity to see in pale green eyes or perfectly pointed lips, to believe that the fluorescent flickering light outside my small town motel does have powers and that it's truly calling my name. Maybe my presence is a bigger part of a bigger story. Maybe the little star I drew on my cheek in black ink meant something to someone, and maybe the crinkle that forms between my brow when I sing is uniquely mine, and maybe that's important. Maybe I am exactly where I need to be in this current moment. It makes me wonder why I should flatten my world down to the drudge and drone that I believe to be truth. It disgusts me that I should be so melancholy. I'm a complex human after all. There's quite a bit that must have gone into the making of me. I came to the realization that I hold a grandiose story within my body, that my supposed soul could speak my narrative for longer than I could ever fathom, that I am deep, that life is often deep, that these relationships I share, these conversations I hold, they run deep, and that I shouldn't downplay that hopeful reality. There are times when I feel comforted by human presence, a certain special few, where this deep is begging to escape, so I let it fall from my tongue, and for once I am free. For those moments, those feelings shared, those poetic intertwining connections, I live. That's that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lauren. Moving on, we'll be going to our social media manager, Edwin.
Am I good to just start?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay. So I've lost the document. Never mind, I found it. So I've got 2 poems to share. The first of which I think is just kind of strange. I don't really know how I feel about it still, but that's okay. And it is called A Man Who Is Not Invited to My Birthday Party. I'm a child and lost in the grocery store, desperate to understand this man in aisle 60. I lost my mother with the organic foods, and this man has 3 heads. He's shopping for raw meats: Wagyu, Kobe, ribeye, tomahawk. This is the intersection aisle. I'm holding a pre-made birthday cake. The 3-headed man reaches into his breast pocket and pulls out another, smaller man. He waves. I turn away. Uh, so the second one also does not make any real cohesive sense like that one either, but that's okay. So the second one is called Totem Revoltum. Revolutum, actually. I'm sitting down to eat crow. The waiter has my mother's hands. A crow is sleeping on the sun. It smells like whatever heaven tastes like. A wolf is eating the sound out of my ears. Osamu Dazai is kissing me on the beach in Kamakura while crows dance like newborn babies in the sea. It's raining rotten fruit on the planet Earth, and I've never been so turned on by flesh before. An old crow tells me to sink my teeth in, but everyone knows men don't have mouths. You don't realize how much is fundamentally wrong with society until you're in a bowling alley. The conservative body of my nightmares is strolling by, winking 8 eyes and letting me know that nightmares make children laugh. I'm sinking upwards, thinking about you, forgetting about the crow in my fridge and the new head it's currently growing. I'm gonna eat until I'm starving. My plate opens up its eyes and kisses me hard on the mouth, and there are no crows left in the world.
Thank you, Edwin.
Yeah.
Moving on, we'll be going to Nick Kissy if he is ready.
Oh, I'm ready.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So the first poem I'm going to read was one that the initial draft came together at Wordhammer, and it honestly we had a prompt. I wasn't feeling it very well. Then someone said you should write about your Jimmy Johns, and then this poem came to be. So this poem is called Yeehaw. So the kid at the deli says to me, "What can I get you, mister?" Which normally wouldn't bother me, but mister is a name reserved for a father or similarly old person, and I'm not yet either of those things. Anyway, I tell him, I'll have the country club, I guess. Probably because when I was growing up and played pretend with my dad, I always wanted to be a cowboy. I wanted us to run around the yard, pistols blasting, bandits ribboned by bullets, and beautiful ladies always being saved just before a train could rend them limb from limb. Maybe that's why I always order the same thing. Maybe I want to believe there's a time where I could pretend again, that pistols were aimed at bad men instead of innocent ones, that ladies were saved and believed when they said someone took something from them without their consent. Hell, Maybe I want to believe we can untether ourselves from the tracks just in time to escape the slicing of steel and smoke. Then the kid says, "You want extra cheese? It's only 5 cents. We've got provolone." And I say, "I'll take every slice you've got, partner." Uh, and this next one I wrote for my independent study with Professor Fanning, and it is the longest poem I have written all semester, but people really vibed with it at the last Word Hammer meeting. So this one is colloquially known as the optometrist's office poem, but the actual title is: Sitting in an exam chair in my optometrist's office, she pulls a massive pair of binoculars to my face, sits close enough that I can smell everything bagel on her breath, and says, "Number one or number two?" Number one is a lens I know well. It shows the world as I've seen it, illuminates dark shadows on a piss stained projection. The figures shift and blur into mist the harder I stare at their watery forms. The sensation is familiar, but not quite what I need, like a date with an old friend or an overdue chat with my dad's gravestone. Number two is an explosion of viridian and vermilion, the vibrant colors of lifeblood and bloodshot sclera. I see the roots of poplars interwoven with each other, an archipelago of greenery, veins lacing from one to one to one, and I ask myself, how long did your last plant live? And remember that nothing beautiful is beautiful until it is dead or dying. Okay, number three or number four? Number three is jazz, baby. The rhythm and bebop popping, and Lord knows I'm a sucker for a green dress and long legs. It's blue light pouring from cheap bulbs, slipping between cigarette smoke trails, pooling in those dilated pupils. It's sexy, it's liberation, it's Sammy Davis Jr. and Ella Fitzgerald and Frank Sinatra, and it's your left shoulder in my mouth while your tongue dances around my earlobe. It's highball glasses shaking in reverberations of low brass, and it's the way you don't bother to look before you jaywalk, because who would hit a cat like you on a night like this? It's the hum breaking through concrete and bone, linking you and me and the night and the music in some metaphysical moment, and its car lights approaching, growing brighter, horns blaring before. Number four is my favorite stuffed animal, Pooh Bear, swirling in soap and water in my parents' front load washer in 1998. Mom said he's safe, but I heard bears weren't strong swimmers, and I don't want to have another friend drown in front of me. Interesting. Number five or number six? Number five is noir, monochrome, moisture, sweat, tachycardia, muted, fuzzy, flickering, collapsing, abyssal. Number six is Looney Tunes, specifically Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck having a heated argument over who gets custody of the kids after they're divorced. Bugs calls Daffy a drunk. Daffy tells Bugs that he wasted his best years on a man who'd rather fuck another bunny than someone who loves him. Bugs makes an offhand comment about Daffy never having any best years to waste, and Daffy reaches for the pistol Elmer Fudd left behind after their most recent dinner party. Bugs declares, "You don't have the balls," and Daffy aims the flintlock at Bugs' forehead. Bugs takes a step toward Daffy, screams, "Pull the fucking trigger," and his bloodshot eyes shake in his skull. The pistol's hammer flicks forward, the flint makes contact with the frizzle, a spark ignites, and the binocular's lens clicks shut. Sorry about that. Now which one is better? Number seven or number eight? Number seven is lucky. In this world, I see stars and the moon every night. Number eight is unlucky. In this world, I see myself become unglued. And finally, number nine or number 10? Number nine's lens lifts me outside of myself, and I see all that came before. The world moves in reverse, snow falls upwards, buildings are deconstructed, and I see a primordial sea flood the wilderness. Tears from a goddess that was suddenly remembered and made real in an instant. Jubilation. Fire and stone hurtle towards an epicenter, and a streak leaves Earth's surface, bound for an unknown genesis of its own. Number 10 is waiting outside the nursing home that holds my mother's body. Tracing freckles on my forearm, I mouth a patchwork prayer and collapse my lungs. In that stillness, I try to fade into dust and sunbeams, hoping I become nothing. just like smoke breathed out from lipstick lips and mistaken by a stranger for another sad trick of the light.
Thank you so much, Nick. I'm really glad you shared both of those. I wasn't expecting the first one, but I was very glad to hear it. Moving on, we'll be having Bella Gross up next.
Okay, hi. um, the first one I'm going to read for you guys is called February Song. I suck at writing love poems. I'm really, honestly, very terrible at it, and this is my attempt at writing a love poem with some help from the wonderful Billy Collins. Oops, I'm sorry, one second. I just messed something up. Okay. All right. So, February Song after Billy Collins' Litany. You are not the blue violets or the red roses. I am not the ribbon around the Target teddy bear's neck, or the cheesy rom-com mis-narrating our quickened breath. You are the steam rising from my mocha latte on a chewy nougat morning. I am the lazy fork and the dripping yolk, the black sweatpants blurry with white dog fur. You could never be the high note in the shower, but you are the scrunchie in my pocket, the one that goes with everything. I guess I'm not the top of the Ferris wheel on a summer night, but I am the thistle in the bouquet that pricks your nose when you bend over to smell the gardenias. I wish I could be a crisp grape for you, because you are the heat from the sand on the back of my calves, because I know how to snap. I know how to cool your tongue with my sweetness, but I don't know how to grape. I want to be the chorus of crickets outside your screen door just after 11 p.m., but I can't because I know that I'm really the lone cricket chasing away your dreams in the small hours of the morning, the one that skitters away from the shadow of your big toe. For you, I would be a dog-eared page, an airline ticket, a broken umbrella, a marshmallow salad, a patch of clover in the sunlight, the lopsided sidewalk that catches your shoe. There's a lot of bullshit love stuff. I know that Collins and all of my favorite boy bands have already beat me to the punch, but I wanted to tell you that you are a pencil sharpener. You are definitely a pencil sharpener. Thank you. Yes. So I think this other one that I have for you guys is potentially the same prompt that Nick was talking about. This came from Word Hammer also, and we were talking about writing a poem with either our like most favorite fast food order or our least favorite fast food order. So this is sort of my take on it. It's called Halfway There, Somewhere in West Virginia, 2014. I was led to believe that this was a holy land of tchotchkes and peanut shells and simple games that call you names. Forgive me, Lord, for I had believed in home cooking some 700 miles from home, in relief from cliff sides against the car window, sealing me into the winding bowels of a rocky tomb. You know what I mean, Lord. I don't think I will resurrect on this Easter Sunday. West Virginians en masse, West Virginians large and small, West Virginians in pastel primary colors, gingham print, makes my stomach growl, reminds me of picnics and sweet mom and pop delis, but my stomach swallows itself in despair. I am suffocating in gray, flecked with pepper, gravy in my mouth like mud, splashing bits of chicken up the sides of the Cracker Barrel. My arms tangle and noodle, dragging me down to a shallow grave. Here lies Northern Michigan girl, beef pasty with ketchup girl, deep fried whitefish fresh from the bay girl, at rest in the dreamy beyond, bathing in cherry pies. Forgive me, Lord, for I had believed in quilted oven mitts with black and brown burns, and wrinkled recipe sheets that smell of old milk, deep pots with no handles, and grits welded to the bottom. West Virginia, I know you have it in you. Forgive my father for wearily pulling into the packed parking lot of your insufferable American disease, smear on your Appalachian tradition. Maybe one day I will know you by the flake and drip of your apple hand pies, the depth of your stews, the generations of stacked cakes that count back your grandmothers like tree rings. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bella. So we're waiting on one more poet to arrive who said they might be late. So we do have a bit of time. If I see that Professor Fanning just joined the call. If he'd like to read anything, he is totally welcome to. You are already unmuted, by the way. So if you want to speak up, just go for it now. Or not. Okay.
Very
Hey.
eloquent. but
Hey, there we go.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Oh my gosh, I've never used Discord before. I'm like in the YouTube and the Discord. It's really bad. It's pathetic. I don't even know how to show myself on here.
What device are you on?
I'm on my phone.
There might be a if you tap on the screen, there might be a turn on camera button at the bottom.
Yeah, I'm not seeing that.
If not, you don't have to show your face. That's totally fine as well.
Okay, cool. Well, I wasn't planning on reading something. Now I got to dig through a folder and find something. But I'm happy to do that. What an amazing reading, y'all. Okay, my daughter is doing it. Check it out.
And your daughter writes too. She's welcome to read as well.
That's Maggie.
I'm good.
Maggie, come on, read something. Oh wow, she doesn't want to read anything. Oh my gosh. Give me like 2 minutes. I'm gonna find something. So I'm gonna
take your time.
Okay, cool. Here, make me go away.
Okay.
I'm going to put the stream on a brief intermission while we wait for Fanning to find the poem. And once he's back, we will resume.
Can you guys hear me? Can you see me or hear me?
Yep, we can hear you. So go ahead whenever you're ready.
All right, cool. Let me just get my phone to a place where you can sort of see me. All right, cool. Clearly, I wasn't ready for this. But I love hearing all your poems. They were amazing. So good. It's so fun to hear your stuff outside of the classroom. It was just really great. I was just loving hearing it. So thanks, everybody. I guess I'll start with this. I'm just gonna read maybe 2 poems like you all did, and I'm going to read a poem that I think will be pretty clear what it's about. I'm not going to say a lot about it. It's I was with my daughter Maggie, who you just met, and my son Gabe, and we were trapped at the intersection of Bluegrass and Mission because there was a parade going by with a lot of American flags and big pickup trucks belching smoke. I think you know the kind of parade I'm talking about. Anyway, this poem is called The Hate Parade. Miles long, a dragon of honking trucks and flags drags its burning rubber tail of rage and smoke through our town. In a van with my kids, gridlocked at an intersection parking lot, we're forced to watch it pass. No more bullshit, the signs say. Pro-life, pro-gun, pro-God. All the drivers pump white fists, their wide mouths spraying flame. Riding shotgun, my son reaches into history. What would even the worst of our dead presidents think watching this? He says, Prince of humor and sense, hand on the hilt of his solid A in AP US Gov, he jabs at the beast with facts. Andrew Jackson, The Rise of Populism. As he speaks, the dragon only rears up louder, howling at us, at my kids. Ire seething to boil, I roll down my window to give them the finger as they pass, but pause. They're armed, and I just don't want my kids to learn to answer hate with hate. I raise the window, muting the horns, the hiss of gas. You should have done it, my daughter says, the pilot light of her voice flicking at me from the back seat. A tear on her new eyeliner, she looks away, won't take my hand for comfort. My daughter, with her pride pinned to her shirt, her loving heart, a deep blue gem burning through the world, now dim with hurt. Look what all the lies have ignited. All those times I told them there's no such thing as monsters. The times I threw the light on to show them nothing lived in their dark closet or under their beds. And here it is, roaring at us, this monster dressed as America. All right. Nick, I don't know. Did you just want to hear one? Is that how we do it?
You're welcome to do another if you'd like.
I don't want to take any time from anyone else. So.
Okay. Well, we're just waiting for Becca. But so if you want to just chuck one more in here and see if she shows up, that's fine too.
Okay. I guess I'll read one other one. I'll try to read a slightly shorter one. I'm going to read a poem that I've never read out loud before because you've all been so kind and amazing tonight. And I'll read this one. And I think it's just about, I've been writing a lot about desire in this new book I'm working on. And this poem was published in a journal called The Baffler, which is like a political and poetry journal, a really amazing journal. And just sort of out of the blue, they took this poem. It's called Say Each Day Your Body Wakes Another Body. And the title spills into the poem. Say each day your body wakes another body, opens inside of you. First fissure, then split, then spread. This body unfurls thick and heavy-headed as a blushing peony. Say your outer body works its world hands daily to push your inner body back into shadow and seed, some bloody chamber. Say while one body isn't watching, the other slips the latch, rises every hour, grazing for what it wants. Say each night your two bodies are bound enemies in a pitch black basement. The inner body beaten and fetal. The outer broken knuckled and sore. Say one body prays with its eyes. Say one goes more blind. Say one body wants to praise bird song and sky, feathers and lemons. Say an ancient glacier stuffs the other's ears, stops its tongue. Or let's say one body, one song, one song. Say one body learns to see through the other's eyes. Say woven. Say the day holds one slow note to greet the night's high spill of bells and stars. Say harmony. Say fields upon fields of bloom and loam. Say caress. Say confluence. Say mutual. Say deep wail moan. Say plunging upward. Say foam. Say through. Say spume. Say spume again. Say the thick stubbled stalk of a sunflower breaking old fenced slats. Say ache. Say shameless. Say the going storm gone. Say open window. Say thunder's muted pulse. Say cumulus and stars. Say flashes of milky light in far blooms of thunderheads. Say wet grass, drenched leaves. Say together. Say safe. Say praise. Say resurrection. Say the moon's sheer light trailing sheets of grace over your naked bodies, your fearless body, both of them. All right, that's it, y'all.
Thank you so much for reading, Professor Fanning. I do a question about that, but I'll save that for class this week.
Sure.
So I guess since Becca is not here, I will go ahead and wrap things up. So I will be right back.
Thanks for coming, Professor Fanning. We really appreciate it. It was really nice to hear your poems too.
Oh, thank you. Like I said, it was just so cool to hear all of your work and to hear it outside of class. And Bella, I love the changes you made to that West Virginia poem. It just flows beautifully now, and all the pieces are in place, but you added things too.
Thank you. I kind of forgot that I added a couple things, but I was really happy that I had part of my screen showing Jade because I know how much Jade loves pasties. I was like, she's gonna like this part.
That's
So
cool.
that's nice. Yeah.
Awesome. And I loved hearing everybody's work. Just really great. I mean, I almost didn't make it. I set a reminder on my calendar for 15 minutes ahead of time, and thank goodness, because I was picking up my daughter from a birthday party, and so like I was listening to the first part of it while I was driving. So I'm so glad I got to be here.
So thanks again to everyone, Fanning, and everyone else included, watching on YouTube or here in the Discord with us. This means a lot to be able to do this. This is, of course, the first semester back after a bit of a hiatus for Wordhammer, and I'm glad I was able to start it back up here with my last semester of school. So I'll be starting off my last few pieces here with the poem Audio Necromancy. My father asked me to perform audio necromancy, parsing through, editing, and trying to breathe some life into my grandfather's old words from my cousin's recording. It isn't easy to work my magic, listening on loop and applying filters, all while I can't filter the thoughts from my head that these will be some of the last words of his that I hear. I've heard them at every family dinner, this Lord's Prayer. It just adds to the number of reasons that this all just feels wrong. I continue, if only to bring closure to my dad, to my cousin, to someone, but not to me. And I just want to make it sound as good as I can to try to preserve his memory somehow. But the bumps in the mic and the quality of recording keep reminding me that it will never be the real thing. Thank you. So originally, I was going to be reading Elegy for Art here in the middle, which is a piece that I have being published in Central Review this semester. But after again being inspired by Bella and Nick, I'm going to go ahead and read my fast food poem. This is $10 Cravings Pack. I feel fulfilled and understood by you even as we separate by hundreds of miles in time. It's rare that I drop you a line or that you drop one my way too. But each reunion in so many ways, we still align. You're like a Taco Bell burrito taco cravings pack. When I get you, I get you. And you get me. It's of good variety, but it still keeps it simple. And just like that marvelous combo, it's a rarity. But you've never steered me wrong, and I know in our separation, we're still pointing back together. Once more through the drive-thru, split $10, $5 and $5. So I was lamenting to Edwin before this reading that I don't have a lot of happy poems, so I'm very glad for Nick and Bella encouraging me by reading their fast food poems there. This final poem is again kind of on a downer note, but I will say I at least can look at it from a good perspective. In the past few weeks, past month really, I've been looking back at my college career. This is my final semester before I graduate in just under 2 weeks, or just over 2 weeks. I don't know. But it's been a real struggle for me trying to really decide whether I like everything that I did. I have a lot of regrets, I'd say, with how I've spent my time. There's organizations and groups that I've spent more time with than I probably ought to have, and organizations that I didn't spend enough time with. But I will say Wordhammer is at least one of the organizations that I am very glad to have spent 4 years with. I joined a Wordhammer back the second semester of my freshman year, though I did attend an event at the end of my first semester. And after that, I was plugged in, and that's really kind of my intro to poetry. So I certainly wouldn't have been in any of the poetry classes with either Bean or Fanning had it not been for that kind of stepping out and reading that first open mic during their slam at the beginning of my first semester. So I'll end this with a poem called When I Have Time. I say, but I never will, because I likely have the most free time I'll ever have right now. And it still isn't enough for me to fill wants, or better yet needs, which so often come second. Maybe I just want the confidence to say when something is actually worth my time, because as it stands now, nothing is. So nothing is how I spend it. There's a wealth of choices, and that's the problem, because there's anxiety built into the question, this or that. So it's safer to defer the question until I can answer, or the opportunity passes by. It's why I always multitask. If I can't enjoy something as efficiently as possible, why even enjoy it at all? So I sit in a waiting room, precariously on the fence, like right now. Screwdriver or wine? Which movie will I watch tonight? Does it even matter? Thank you. And thank you again to everyone for coming out tonight. It means a lot to have all the support here. And thank you again for kind of helping me get Wordhammer back off the ground, to both the staff members here and everyone else here. It's really means a lot to me. So thank you again, and have a great night.